Hello once again, book lovers, and welcome back to another installment of Amanda Gets Excited About Books! I am so excited to be back with you today to be showing off some wonderful new titles that we just got in here at the Nevada Public Library. I hope that you will be as excited about what's in this box behind me as I am sure to be, because I get super excited every time we get a new box of books. There's always something in there that I can't wait to read. I'll go through our usual housekeeping real quick in case you're new or in case you've forgotten. I'm going to open a box of books. I'm going to show you all of these wonderful new titles that we just got in at the library. All of these titles are in our catalog right now, so you can request them. You can place holds on them right now so that we will have them ready for you as soon as we can. Our catalog has a handy book list option. When you're on the main page of the catalog, look on the right-hand side for the link that says book lists. There's some really great things in there, some read-alikes, some great ways to find new books, but there's also a bunch of lists called Unboxing Video 1 through, I believe this is 13. So if you click on any of those, you will see a list of all of the books that were in each of the boxes, each of these videos that I have done, and you can place holds right from those lists. It's super helpful, it's really great, wonderful way to remind yourself of what was in these boxes and to place holds on the titles that you want to read. Now, as I was carrying this box in, it's pretty hefty, so I know we've got a lot of titles in here, so I'm gonna stop the housekeeping there, try and dive right in, because I don't want this video to be too long, but I definitely want to have time to show you everything that's in this box. So let's get started. Oh boy, and the very first thing I see when I open this box is a book that I cannot wait to read. I've been looking forward to this ever since I heard it announced. This is Moonflower Murders by Anthony Horowitz. This is the sequel to Magpie Murders. If you have not read that book, oh my goodness, I recommend that book to pretty much anybody who ever asks me for a recommendation. I loved it that much. It is a brilliant mystery. It's a story within a story, and he crafts it so well. One of the stories is this great homage to Agatha Christie and to kind of a Hercule Poirot story, and it's just brilliant. This is the sequel to that, so we are again following our publisher, Susan Ryland. But we also get another story within a story in this one as well. It is sure to be incredible, a really great mystery full of lots of fun twists and turns in the way that only Anthony Horowitz can write. I know I have been eagerly anticipating this title, and you should absolutely get your name on this if you've read and enjoyed Magpie Murders. If you have not read that book yet, I highly recommend it, and then make sure to pick up this sequel. More to be excited about. I know we've got a growing hold list for this one. Stephanie Plum is back in the weirdly misnamed, because it doesn't actually have the number in the title, 27th installment of the Stephanie Plum series by Janet Ivanovich. This is Fortune and Glory, Tantalizing 27 as the subtitle. So we return to our favorite bounty hunter, Stephanie Plum, and try to see what she's getting up to this time. It's sure to be just hilarious and lots of fun. If you've enjoyed the Stephanie Plum books, you will not want to miss this latest installment. Up next is another author that I know a lot of people enjoy reading. This is John Connolly's The Dirty South. This takes place in 1997 in Arkansas, where someone is killing young women, and nobody wants to admit that this is happening. In an Arkansas jail cell sits a former NYPD detective stricken by grief. He is mourning the deaths of his wife and child and searching in vain for the killer. He cares only for his own lost family, but that is about to change. So do not miss The Dirty South if you are a fan of these kinds of mystery stories. If you are a fan of John Connolly, if you have enjoyed his writing in the past, you will definitely want to pick up this book. Here we have one called The Gentleman and the Thief by Sarah M. Eden. Ooh, and this has an intriguing premise to start. We have a gentleman who writes penny dreadful novels by night, and he falls in love with a woman who is a music teacher by day and a thief by night. So this sounds like a somewhat period romance. The title definitely, and the title page definitely suggests a little bit of that. This sounds very interesting, as these two, it looks like, have to join forces to solve some crimes. After all, who better to save the day than a gentleman and a thief? I have not heard anything about this series or this book, but this sounds awesome. I want to read it now, and I recommend you check out The Gentleman and the Thief. Next book is called Little Cruelties. This is by Liz Nugent, and she is got some praise from a number of great best-selling mystery and suspense writers. This new novel will invite comparison to the HBO series Succession. All three of the Drum brothers were at the funeral, but one of them was in the coffin. William, Brian, and Luke, three boys born a year apart, trained from birth by their wily mother to compete for her attention. They play nasty games as brothers do. Yet even after the Drums grow up into the world beyond, those games, those little cruelties, grow more sinister, more merciless, and more dangerous. And with their lives entwined like the strands of a noose, only two of the brothers will survive. This sounds excellent. This sounds like a page turner. I am definitely intrigued by this premise, and I may have to put my name on hold for this one. Do not miss Little Cruelties. Here we have In the Lion's Den by Barbara Taylor Bradford. And this is the highly anticipated second book in the House of Falconer series. James Lionel Falconer has risen quickly from a mere shop worker to being the right-hand man of Henry Malvern, head of the most prestigious shipping company in London. With Malvern's daughter Alexis running away to the country after a terrible tragedy and refusing to return, James's ascent to head of the company seems inevitable. But even a charmed life like James's is not without its setbacks. A terrible fire threatens to end his merchant career before it's had a chance to truly begin. Mrs. Ward, James's former paramour, has a secret that could change his life forever. And his distaste for Alexis Malvern is slowly growing into feelings of quite a different sort. Can James continue to be the master of his own fate, or will all of his charm, intelligence, and wit finally fail him when he has to enter the lion's den? Spanning the years from 1889 to 1892, this is Barbara Taylor Bradford at her historical storytelling best. If you enjoy historical tales like this, if you read the first book and you are eager for more, do not miss In the Lion's Den. If this sounds intriguing and you haven't read the first book yet, make sure to pick that up and then put your name on hold for this one. Up next is another title that I know people are going to be super excited about. Michael Connolly coming back to our Lincoln lawyer with The Law of Innocence. Our Lincoln lawyer, Mickey Haller, is back in this new thriller. On the night he celebrates a big win, he is pulled over by the police, who find the body of a former client in the trunk of his Lincoln. Haller is immediately charged with murder, and he cannot post the $5 million bail slapped on him by a vindictive judge. Mickey elects to represent himself and is forced to mount his defense from his jail cell in downtown Los Angeles. All the while, he needs to look over his shoulder. As an officer of the court, he is an instant target, and he makes few friends when he reveals a corruption plot within the jail. But the bigger plot is the one against him. He knows he's been framed, whether by a new enemy or an old one, and his trusted team, including his half-brother Harry Bosch, investigates, and Haller must use all his skills in the courtroom to counter the damning evidence against him. Even if he can obtain a not guilty verdict, Mickey understands that it won't be enough. In order to be truly exonerated, he must find out who really committed the murder and why. That is the Law of Innocence. The stakes could not be higher for our Lincoln lawyer in this one, and if you have read any of this series, you don't want to miss this latest installment. If you're not on the list for it yet, put your name on hold for it now. This is sure to be an explosive read. Up next is The Devil and the Dark Water by Stuart Turton, who is the author of The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, which happens to be our Books on Zoom book this month. So if you've been attending that book club, you will be reading his book. And if you haven't been attending that book club, you should, because it's super fun. It's our book club on Zoom that happens every month. And this book takes place in 1634. Samuel Pepys, the world's greatest detective, is being transported to Amsterdam to be executed for a crime he may or may not have committed. Traveling with him is his loyal bodyguard, Errant Hayes, who's determined to prove his friend innocent. Among the other guests is Sarah Wessel, a noblewoman with a secret. But no sooner is their ship out to sea than devilry begins to blight the voyage. A strange symbol appears on the sail. Someone stalks the decks, livestock die in the night, and then a passenger hears a terrible voice whispering to them in the darkness, promising 3 unholy miracles followed by a slaughter. First, an impossible pursuit, second, an impossible theft, and third, an impossible murder. Could a demon be responsible for their misfortunes? With Pips in prison, only Errant and Sarah can solve the mystery that stretches back into their past and now threatens to sink the ship, killing everyone on board. This sounds awesome. This sounds like a gripping read. You will not want to miss this one. Make sure you put your name on hold for The Devil and the Dark Water. This is another one that I'm very excited about. This is Miss Benson's Beetle by Rachel Joyce. It's set in 1950 London, which is still reeling from World War II, and Marjorie Benson, a school teacher and spinster, is trying to get through life, surviving on scraps. One day, she reaches her breaking point, abandoning her job and small existence to set out on an expedition to the other side of the world in search of her childhood obsession, an insect that may or may not exist, the golden beetle of New Caledonia. When she advertises for an assistant to accompany her, the woman she ends up with is the last person she had in mind. Fun-loving Enid Pretty, in her tight-fitting pink suit and pom-pom sandals, seems to attract trouble wherever she goes. But together, these 2 British women find themselves drawn into a cross-ocean adventure that exceeds all expectations and delivers something neither of them expected to find: the transformative power of friendship. This sounds like it could be an awesome book club read. This sounds like a very entertaining and uplifting story, great to read right now. Rachel Joyce is always a good writer to take a look at, so do not miss Miss Benson's Beetle. This is a title I have definitely been hearing very good things about. This is The Ministry for the Future by Kim Stanley Robinson. And here we have a legendary science fiction author who's bringing us a remarkable vision of climate change over the coming decades. This is a masterpiece of imagination using fictional eyewitness accounts to tell the story of how climate change will affect us all. Its setting is not a desolate post-apocalyptic world, but the future that is almost upon us, and in which we might just overcome the extraordinary challenges we face. And this is described as one of the most powerful and original books on climate change ever written. Incredibly timely, definitely one that you will not want to miss. Make sure to put your name on hold for The Ministry for the Future. Up next, we've got a bit of a lighter book here, but still a bit of a mystery as well. This is A Christmas Resolution by Anne Perry. And a smitten woman is about to marry a dangerous man unless Detective John Hooper and his new wife Celia can prevent it. And this wonderful new holiday mystery by Anne Perry. If you enjoy her writing, if you've enjoyed, good mystery titles, and especially good mystery titles with a little bit of a holiday tie-in, you will definitely want to put your name on hold for A Christmas Resolution. And while we're looking at Christmas books, we've got another title in this box. This is by Rayanne Thane, and this is called Christmas at Holiday House. And this sounds like a wonderful, cozy, light romance to sit down and read with your hot beverage of choice in front of a fire this holiday season. Set in the town of Silver Bells, there's always a feeling of Christmas in the air. This year will bring widowed nurse Abigail Powell a fresh start in a different city. Excited about the chance to create an unforgettable Christmas for her young son in picturesque Silver Bells, Colorado, Abby has been hired to take care of her dear friend's recuperating grandmother. But sprightly senior Winnie insists she doesn't need looking after. What she does need is help decorating her historic mansion, Holiday House, for a seasonal town fundraiser. Abby warms to the festive task, but she'll have to contend with her own personal Grinch, Winnie's prickly grandson, Ethan Lancaster. Ethan is good at a lot of things. Relationships surely aren't one of them. His ex-fiancée convinced Ethan that he was incapable of love, and he believes her, up until the moment he impulsively kisses Abby. What is it about this vibrant woman and her sweet son that knocks his world off kilter? He knows they're leaving town after Christmas. He just didn't expect that they'd be taking a little of his heart with them. But as he and Abby work together on the magical holiday house through the record cold weather, visions of a different future dance in his head. one filled with warmth, love, and a new beginning for them both. As I said, this sounds like a very wonderful, cozy, sweet holiday romance. Definitely check this out if you enjoy those types of books. Up next is one that I've also been hearing quite a bit about, and I'm sure people will be excited to see this. This is Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey, and this is his recent memoir. So if you like his acting, if you like him, if you like reading memoirs, you will not want to miss this title. This is Green Lights. We have another memoir popping up here, one that I've been hearing very good things about. This is I'll Be Seeing You by Elizabeth Berg. And in this one, the New York Times bestselling author, Elizabeth Berg, tells the moving love story of caring for her parents in their final years. Her father was an Army vet who was a tough man in every way but one. He showed a great deal of love and tenderness to his wife. Berg describes her parents' marriage as a romance that lasted for nearly 70 years. She grew up watching her father kiss her mother upon leaving home and kiss her again the instant he came back. His idea of when he should spend time away from her was never. But then he developed Alzheimer's disease, and her parents were forced to leave the home they loved and move into a facility that could offer them help. It was time for the couple's children to offer, to the best of their abilities, practical advice, emotional support, and direction, to, in effect, parent the people who had for so long parented them. It was a hard transition, mitigated by at least flashes of humor and joy. And this is Elizabeth Berg's story of that time and how that went, and of taking care of her parents. So this sounds like one you will definitely want to read if you enjoy memoirs and if you enjoy Elizabeth Berg's writing and you want a little bit of a look into something that happened in her life. This is another title I've been hearing incredible things about. This is The Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. It's 1893, and there's no such thing as witches. There used to be in the wild, dark days before the burnings began, but now witching is nothing but tidy charms and nursery rhymes. If the modern woman wants any measure of power, she must find it at the ballot box. But when the Eastwood sisters, James Juniper, Agnes Amaranth, and Beatrice Belladonna, join the suffragists of New Salem, they begin to pursue the forgotten words and ways that might turn the women's movement into the witches' movement. Stalked by shadows and sickness, hunted by forces that will not suffer a witch to vote, and perhaps not even to live, the sisters will need to delve into the oldest magics, draw new alliances, and heal the bond between them if they want to survive. There's no such thing as witches, but there will be. This sounds amazing. I definitely want to read this one. I've been hearing so many positive reviews and good things. You will definitely want to read The Once and Future Witches. Our next title is a little bit of a small one that was sure to be a quick read, but sure to be a powerful read. A bit small, but I bet this would still make an incredible book club book from what I've been hearing about it. This is The Silence by Dawn DeLillo. And this book was completed just weeks before the COVID-19 pandemic began, and the story tells a different catastrophic event. Super Bowl Sunday in the year 2022, 5 people, dinner, an apartment on the east side of Manhattan. There's the retired physics professor and her husband and her former student waiting for the couple that will join them after what becomes a dramatic flight from Paris. Conversation ranges for a variety of topics, and then something happens and the digital connections that have transformed our lives are severed. What follows is a dazzling and profoundly moving conversation about what makes us human. So this sounds like a very thought-provoking and compelling read, and one that's sure to be one you won't want to miss, and one you will probably be able to get through in one sitting, but is almost for sure to stay with you long past. Our next title in this box is Hidden in Plain Sight by Jeffrey Archer. And this is our second story about Detective William Warwick. So if you've read the first title about him, you will definitely want to pick this one up. He's been promoted to detective sergeant, but his promotion means that he and the rest of his team have been reassigned to the drug squad. They are immediately tasked with apprehending a notorious drug dealer who operates his extensive network out of South London. As the investigation progresses, William runs into enemies old and new, and as his team closes the net around a criminal network like none they've ever faced before, he devises a trap that they would never expect, one that is hidden in plain sight. If you've enjoyed his writing in the past, if you like Jeffrey Archer's books, if you read the first book about William Warwick, you will not want to miss this next title. And we have one final book in this box. This is The Tower of Fools by, I'm going to butcher this name, I apologize, Andrzej Sapkowski. This is the author of the Witcher series, so if you've read those books or have watched the show and you really enjoy those, this is the start of a new trilogy by the same author. So sure to be one that you will want to get your hands on if you are a fan of historical fantasy. We have our main character Reinmar, who is a healer, a magician, and according to some, a charlatan. When a thoughtless indiscretion forces him to flee his home, he finds himself pursued not only by brothers bent on vengeance, but by the Holy Inquisition. In a time when tensions between Hussite and Catholic countries are threatening to turn into war, and mystical forces are gathering in the shadows, Reinmar's journey will lead him to the Narrenturm, the Tower of Fools. The tower is an asylum for the mad, or for those who dare to think differently and challenge the prevailing order. And escaping it, avoiding the conflict around him, and keeping his own sanity will prove more difficult than he ever imagined. So again, if you like historical fantasy, if you enjoyed any of The Witcher and you want to read something else by the same author, you will definitely want to pick up The Tower of Fools. And that does it for this box. Thank you so much for sticking with me. We had a lot of exciting titles in this box. I know I'm excited about a bunch of this. I hope you are as well. Please do sign into the catalog, make use of the book lists, put your name on hold for anything that you want to read out of this box, and we will let you know as soon as we've got those titles ready for you. I can't wait to see you for our next box, and thank you so much for joining me for this one. Bye!